Most people watch football emotionally, but analysts and coaches watch it with intention. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to do that. Whether you're a coach, a player, or just someone who loves the game, I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step method of analysing football matches, which is simple and easy to follow. And it helps you to actually understand what's going on the pitch, instead of just watching it. This is the same process that I personally use, and it's something that you can apply into your analysis. Now, for the first 10 minutes of the game, don't write anything down, just watch the game. And I think this is quite an underrated method of analysis, because oftentimes if you go in with the intention of analysing something, you often try searching for things that aren't there yet. And if you're constantly looking down at your notepad, jotting down notes, and then looking up at the screen again for a second, and then looking down and jotting down notes, and then looking up at the screen, you get the idea. If you keep doing that, then you can't actually visualize the nature of the game and what is actually going on. So that's why I say for the first 10 minutes, just watch it. As if you're watching a normal football match, but I just want you to put your phone to the side, right? You don't need your phone during this. And just enjoy watching the game for the first 10 minutes. You need to get a feel for the energy, the rhythm of the game, which team are on the front foot, which team aren't, without getting distracted or trying to overanalyze things too early on, because that ultimately defeats the purpose. Now, step number 2. For the next 10 to 20 minutes, I want you to focus on each team's shapes. Okay, so for example, this shape in Team A, let's call them, this shape looks to me like a 4-2-3-1. And this shape, for example, for the red team, Team B, looks more like a 4-3-3. But I don't just want you to analyse the shape in general, because shapes change, systems, formations change throughout the game, whether you are on the ball or off the ball. Like here, for example, imagine the ball is with the middle centre-back here. You can see that the in-possession structure for the blue team has drastically changed from that original 4-2-3-1. It's now more like a 3 in the defensive line, your 2 in the midfield, normally called the double pivot, and then your 5 along the front line. And then I want you to look at how the opposition are defending that. So you can see they've got their 4 across the back line, they've got their 4 in the midfield line, and then they've got their 2 attackers or strikers. Okay, now these shapes also change based on the phase of play that a team is in. And this is something I also want you to take note of. So let's again use the example of the blue team in this situation. You've got 3 phases on the pitch, okay? Now we're going to imagine the ball is with the goalkeeper, and here they are in the first phase, or the build-up phase. And this is also important for you to note down the formation that they are using, or the structure that they are using in the build-up phase, and also how the opposition are defending that initial build-up. This next bit here, you've got your middle phase, and then this last bit here is your attacking phase. Okay, so just focusing on the first phase, or the defensive phase, we can see their structure in this phase has the 2 centre-backs, the goalkeeper is involved in this build-up pattern, and then you've got these 4 players here all playing on the same line. So 2 full-backs and 2 centre midfielders. This is a common shape used in football in build-up patterns because it utilises the goalkeeper, and that can create an overload in the first phase. So their wingers are nice and high, cutting off these full-back options, and then these 2 strikers are locked on to the 2 centre-backs if they were to receive the ball. So even though the opposition have 6 defending this first phase, the blue team always have a +1 because of their goalkeeper, so they've got 7 players. So that's the type of stuff I want you to note down, how formations change in each phase. And you can also put notes off this saying the positioning of players, so centre-back starting nice and wide, 2 centre midfielders playing nice and close to each other, the full-back stretching the pitch. Now, the one thing I do want to note about step 2 is it's important that you remain intentional with your analysis. Now, this doesn't mean analysing every single phase and every single thing that the opposition do in that phase, okay? That's not going to be possible within the 10-minute time frame. I want you to just focus on the main point. So, for example, if Team A has kept the ball the most, if they've been in possession of the ball the most, then their on-the-ball structure is going to be prominent for you to analyse. And that means that Team B's out-of-possession structure is also going to be prominent for you to analyse. So most of your analysis or note-taking should be based around those 2 principles. Instead of worrying about what is Team B's in-possession structure, what is Team A's out-of-possession structure, you know, if it's only happened for, say, 2 minutes in the game, then chances are it might not be relevant in leading on later on into the game. So just make sure you're covering the main points and don't overwhelm yourself with having to analyse every single formation in every single phase. Now, step 3, I want you to focus on identifying patterns. And this is where it gets interesting, because now you've got the foundation of looking for team's shape in certain areas of the pitch, certain phases. You can now start to dive deeper into certain zones on the pitch and identify patterns. Now, what I mean by that is player movements, okay? Where's the space? Where's the most space on the pitch? Where's the space being created? Okay. What are some of the passing patterns that teams are using? Which players are the most heavily involved? Are they exploiting overloads on the pitch? And a pattern, obviously, is something that doesn't just happen once. Okay, it's got to be a reoccurrence. Because the more frequently something happens, the greater influence it will have on the result of that match. Because patterns reveal the intent by the coach, okay? So that is kind of like what the coach is asking them to do. If they are repeating it on a regular basis throughout the game, you can understand what the coach is trying to do in that game. And that can help you predict outcomes, which carries on later into the game. Please excuse the change of scenery. My recording software did not like me before, but hopefully that's sorted out. So far we've covered step 1, which is for the first 10 minutes, just watch the game. Step 2, 10 to 20 minutes to look at formations and different phases of play. And then step 3, which is spotting patterns at the end of that first half, for the rest of the first half. So do you know what I want you to do in the second half? Repeat the exact same process. Okay, and I say this because if you can do the same process as you did in the first half and you can spot changes, then you can say, right, this is what changed in the game, and this could have possibly had an influence on the result. And spotting those changes is key, because without spotting the changes, then you can't really say what impacted the game. So is the pressing more aggressive? Has the build-up structure changed? Why is it changed? What has the opposition done to address that? And this is where the real analysis happens. Not just noticing what is happening, but thinking about why it's happening and the influence and the outcome it has on the result. Why did the manager make this change? How did he make the change? What did he change? Why is that space now opening up? Why is this press, which was working in the first half, why is it no longer working? Okay, and these are the things that you need to go through at the end of your analysis, at the end of the game. You look through your notes and you ask yourself these questions. And that's how you start to think like a coach rather than just a fan. So if this video has helped you in any way, and if you are going to actually go and apply some of these strategies into your next game, then drop this video a like and please subscribe. I post regular videos on here and I've got some very exciting updates coming to the Tactics Academy.